Why is Chicago a place, or do you think Chicago is a place where Caleb Williams can thrive?
I absolutely do, because you look at this roster that Ryan Poles has carefully curated over the last couple of years. Yes, he laid a foundation. It was that slow but steady approach, and you're seeing this environment, this setup for a young quarterback now to come into and be successful. Moreover, not only did you turn over the roster, you now have Shane Waldron at offensive coordinator. His system, it's incredibly player-friendly because it thrives off of some very basic concepts, so it's easy to grasp for these guys. Relies on heavier personnel, which is something that Caleb Williams did at USC. It's not unlike what Shanahan does in San Francisco. Waldron likes, instead of the running backs, though, the multiple running backs on the field, Waldron really likes multiple tight ends, which presents so many different mismatches and really dictates how a defense can defend you. And coming from USC, where Caleb Williams is used to that as far as multiple running backs on the field, it's going to be very familiar. And again, it's a system that's based on really simple concepts, and it builds out from there. So I really think that Caleb Williams is going to see some familiar concepts in this system, and I think that it's going to be easy to grasp. We're just going to have to see how the rest of the roster kind of builds around what Shane Waldron likes to do.
Did you like seeing Keenan Allen at his pro day? You like that? I mean, how is that? What are the vibes in Chicago about this? Because every time I do a temperature check, we don't want Caleb. We want Caleb. We don't want him. And I have this idea that they're in sort of like they don't know how to accept it and wrap their arms around a good thing because they haven't had it.
Yeah.
There's like years of bad relationships that they've had with the quarterback position. They don't even know as a fan base, and you know, I know that you sit next to a lot of these men and women who cover the team. Chicago's beat's a little funky.
Yeah.
It's a little weird. It's a little, and there's some aggressive beats in the game, but they're a little wonky.
What's interesting about the Chicago media market, and it's something I didn't realize until I got into it, I grew up in Chicago, so I was accepted right away. Everybody in that media room pretty much grew up in Chicago or was around the Chicago area. They have the battle scars from this team, the roller coaster of emotions that goes with every offseason and then into the season and the disappointment. They have lived all of it. And so there's kind of like this, it's such a tight-knit group because they've been bonded.
Are they objective?
No, absolutely not.
I read the trauma between
exactly. That's like what the trauma is there, and it's because everybody on that beat has been through it, has been through the trenches. But what Ryan Poles said at owners' meetings, or after owners' meetings, I should say, he said on the McAfee show, he was like, I was brought here to break a cycle. I don't care what happened before me. I don't care about the quarterback controversies and the way that cycle has really been a really big disappointment for Chicago. Ryan Poles is like, that's not my problem. I was brought here to build a team and to create something for a quarterback.
He said he was pissed about.
Yeah, I would be too, because he doesn't want to be held responsible for the decisions of someone else. These are his decisions, and for all intents and purposes, and what we've seen, he's created a roster that, again, is a really good situation for a young quarterback to come in, especially for a first overall pick. This is a better situation than any quarterback taken at #1 overall has ever come into.
Strong ever.
Ever.
Strong word. I mean, and making you're like, let me think. Let me go back into the Rolodex. But I don't think that you're wrong. They're going to have to. It's going to have to happen before people maybe get on board.
I think so too.
What advice would you give Caleb Williams, knowing what this market is?
It's put your head down and work. There's a quote, I used it in my article on foxsports.com. It was my Twitter photo forever, or my header forever. It was, Hollywood is hype, New York is talk, Chicago is work. Chicago just wants to work. They're a blue-collar city of broad shoulders. You know it. You grew up there too. They want to make sure that you're putting your head down and you are working. And that's kind of been the discourse about Caleb Williams, like, oh, he's all Hollywood, oh, blah, blah, blah. That's the new normal in this NIL generation.
It's just the first of it, yeah.
So this is, and I've talked to so many GMs, different personnel executives, evaluators. I'm like, is this the new normal? You're going to see these guys act like businessmen, because they are. And they're like, absolutely.
You can't get mad if they're flying private. That's just what the game is.
He's already made millions of dollars. But can you set that aside when you get into that locker room, like Jalen Jalen Johnson said on your show and put it behind you.
I mean, the context, and I love you. I love you so much because you you spotlighted that in a way most people did not. And I, behind the scenes, was very upset with the taken out of context sort of and run.
We've lost a lot of context.
I mean, Shannon and Ocho, I'm like, no, this is not okay. But like, it just goes up this funnel of you get that headline. But he was sort of echoing that same sentiment. Like, none of that matters when you get in the locker room. You got to put your head, no matter who it is.
Right.
You can't be, but there has to be this like new balance in this new era of NIL and coming from that, and just the next generation and everything that comes with that as far as accepting and embracing that. In Chicago, blue collar Chicago, we know and love you. Like, you gotta get used to it and hopefully embrace him. So you're saying come in and like
just put your head down and work.
Put your head down. Yeah.
And I think that's exactly what he'll do. We've heard that Caleb Williams is a wonderful teammate. He's a wonderful leader. He can get these guys behind him as well. It's going to be different with the veterans because these guys have been doing it a long time. So you need to make sure that you're coming in there and you're showing that respect and you're making sure that everybody knows that you're there to work and to win. And that's what Caleb Williams wants to do.
What are they doing at 9?
So it's so funny to me because if the Bears didn't have this first overall pick and it wasn't Caleb Williams, this would still be one of the best storylines of this draft because there's so many options there.
Trade back.
I think they're a great trade back candidate.
Oh, yeah.
And you look at who's behind them, right? It's the New York Jets. What do the Jets need? They need a tackle, they need a wide receiver, they need a tight end. Problem is, the Bears also need a tackle, wide receiver, tight end. So are you willing to give up a blue chip prospect at a position of need in order to trade back? Now, if you get 2 starters out of that, that's probably worth it. But my dark horse for who the Bears should take at 9, Georgia tight end Brock Bowers.
Tell me why.
Shane Waldron's offense is predicated on using multiple tight end sets to set up play action. It's a huge component of the system. To me, a pass-catching tight end like Brock Bowers is more valuable to this offense.
Oh my God, you have me
than a new,
I'm like in on the Bears.
Than another receiver.
I'm in. I'm eating this up. Yes.
Yeah, I think it's more.
Run
it's
those
more
tight
vital.
end sets. Let's go.
It's more vital. They utilized 3 tight end sets at the second highest clip last year of anybody. Seattle did under Shane Waldron.
Okay.
They are routinely at the top of the league in those multiple tight end sets because of the mismatches that tight ends create. So I really enjoy this offense. I think it's really fun. I think it has the capability to work in Chicago, but you need the personnel to do it. And I think Brock Bowers would round out that tight end room with Cole Kmet and Gerald Everett really, really well.
We got to put that out. Chicago, I want to know how you feel about that. Hit us up, comment below here on Twitter if you want that tight end on your team. You have me, I was just thinking about like, oh yeah, it's always just the Bears. And then I'm like, oh my gosh, like Jordan Love on the field with Caleb Williams. And then it's like Keenan Allen wanting to show what he's got. And now I'm watching them like trade fire. And I'm like, are the Bears going to be great in 2024? Like, it's a great setup for the young quarterback, whoever the quarterback might be.